American people understand is this country was based and is based on fairness, It is not fair when the top 0.1% today owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. It is not fair when the 20 wealthiest people in this country own more wealth than the bottom half of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is Lawrence B. Lindsey, former director of the National Economic Council, American Enterprise Institute resident scholar, and president of the Lindsey Group. He has a great new book, Conspiracies of the Ruling Class, How to Break Their Grip Forever. Larry, welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me.
And you gave me permission to call you Larry. Just want everybody to know that before we started. Great to talk to you. All right, so explain to me, who is the ruling class, and why should Americans care about that?
Well, the ruling class, it's really a state of mind. They're a bunch of people who think they know how to run your life better than you do. That's what ruling is all about. So generally they think that you're not capable, that you need government to guide you, and of course the most important part is that they're the natural people to be in government.
And what do Americans have to fear? What's the biggest concern Americans should have about the ruling class?
Well, they want to run your life. I mean, if that's okay with you, then you probably have nothing to fear. But, I don't like other people running my life. The other part of it is that they're not very good at it. And one of the, I heard Senator Sanders quote about fairness and equality and all the rest. Well, I don't know anyone who's running for a less fair society or a more unequal society. But one of the things I point out in the book is that the people who talk the most about reducing inequality as president actually do the worst job of it. Inequality rose more under 6 years of Barack Obama than it did under 8 years of George Bush. It rose more under Bill Clinton than under Ronald Reagan. In fact, Bill Clinton sets the record for how fast inequality has gone up in America in the post-war period. So the more they talk about it, it just turns out, empirically, the worst job they do at reducing inequality.
Yeah, interesting. You ought to get...
I think, given what he had to say, that if he were to be president, gosh, we'd have an incredibly unequal society by the time Senator Sanders got finished.
Yeah, so the ruling class affecting the populist campaigns of both Trump and Sanders, how do you see that playing into it?
Well, I think people are right to be angry because, the sense that the government knows better than you do is a problem of arrogance. And you combine that with what a bad job they're doing, which I'd call incompetence. Arrogance and incompetence is enough to make anyone angry, and so I get why people are angry. What I try and talk about in the book, though, is how to fix the problem constructively. Yelling about it, shouting about it is not the way to do it. These guys are well entrenched. You need to get in there, and you need to, root them out. You need to take back the power that they have grabbed for themselves over the last 50, 100 years that the founding fathers never intended. We were built as a country where it was a revolutionary idea. The government is supposed to serve the people, not vice versa.
Right. But
what the ruling class has done is turn that on its head, and we have to get people in there who are going to reverse that trend.
What about income inequality, quote unquote? Not necessarily the way Bernie Sanders talks about it. In our economic system, is there any way to address that? Should that be addressed, or does that have to just resolve itself naturally?
Well, there's a lot of moving pieces in income inequality. For example, let's look at what's happened under President Obama. He will be the first president in American history to actually leave office with fewer two-earner families than when he came in. 2/3 of all the net families that have been formed under Barack Obama have 0 earners in them. Now, it is impossible to bring down inequality if what you have is you're creating families where nobody's working. By definition, people who aren't working are not going to be making the society a more equal place. And yet, because he's run policies, we've increased transfer payments, which are payments to people who don't work, basically, by $500 billion under his presidency. When you pay people not to work, you're going to have people not working. And when you have people not working, you're going to have inequality rising. And it's really quite straightforward.
Yeah, no, and of course you disincentivize people to strive to do better and to even to work. Lawrence B. Lindsey, again, the book is a great new book, Conspiracies of the Ruling Class, How to Break Their Grip Forever. We appreciate you coming on. A great thrill to talk to you, sir.
Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure. Up next, Gavin McInnes joins us. Don't go away.